Polygraph tests are widely popular on crime dramas like Law and Order, CSI, and NCIS. There's a widely held opinion that polygraph tests are super effective in detecting lies from criminals and the like. However, today we'll be evaluating the effectiveness of polygraph tests through the lens of the four-factor theory of deception. The goal of this presentation is to explore whether polygraphs are actually as effective as most people think they are. So to start off, what is a polygraph test? It was invented by William Marsden in 1917, and it was first proposed as a tool to detect deceptiveness in criminals. Today, it's used for a wide variety of reasons. Many government employees need to take these tests. When you're applying for a job, I'm applying to be a police officer in Connecticut, so I will have to go through a polygraph exam. And this is just to make sure that you're truthful about your background, and they want to make sure that you're not lying about anything on your application. And you're going to have access to sensitive information, so it's important that you know like what you're getting from someone. So yes, this test is still widely used today for government agencies and maybe even private companies alike. So it is a form of psychological testing, according to Kleinmans and Succo in 1982. And what the polygraph does is it assesses simple physiological changes in your body, such as heart rate, breathing, and your electrodermal response. And these are assessed in reaction to a carefully structured set of questions. So you're hooked up to this machine and you're asked a structured question. It's not just random. And they monitor whether your heart rate increases when something is asked, if it stays the same, if it lowers. Same thing with your breathing. So it's trying to detect like how your body is internally reacting to these questions. And then the pattern of bodily arousal to these questions is used as the basis for inferring a subject's truthfulness or deception. And a quick note that in many of the studies I looked at, they refer to as CQTs, comparison question tests. So polygraph test is more of like the mainstream way of using it, but in academia, it'll be referred to as a CQT. So now looking at the four-factor theory of deception, which is the theory that we'll be using to look at the effectiveness of polygraph tests. This theory by Zuckerman et al. States that there are no clear signals of deception, but there are signals of internal processes associated with deception. So lying produces signs of, number one, attempted control, which is unnatural behaviors you may exhibit, like staring at someone for too long or making like really heavy eye contact, or like maybe you're like jiggling your leg. A lot of people do that when they're anxious. So these are unnatural behaviors that you're trying to focus on lying, and then you're also just doing these weird things with your body, and that would be influenced by characteristics of the liar and the situation. So physiological arousal, which is the one that we focus on for polygraph tests, is signs of stress that your body exhibits when you're lying. Like I said earlier, heart rate, breathing, epidermic response, maybe they can even map your brain. So these are all signs of stress that you really can't control unless you're very skilled. Then number three, we have displays of emotion. Some facial muscles are just difficult to control. You might like peek out a micro expression while you're lying, and someone might be able to pick up on that, or they might not. And then the fourth factor is cognitive processing. Lies are cognitively demanding, so your brain is not going to be able to keep up as well as it would if you were telling the truth. So these are the four factors, and as I stated, we'll be focusing on physiological arousal for our examination of polygraph exams. So the effectiveness. These are the results. I found a multitude of studies that have been conducted early 2000s, and then also a lot in the 1980s. It must have been a hot topic of interest back in that time. But so according to the four-factor theory of deception, polygraph tests should be effective. When you're lying, your internal body processes should raise, and it's going to make you anxious, and it's going to, as a result, get your body all worked up. But the results are mixed. So it turns out the four-factor theory of deception might not be as sound as we thought it might have been. The best available field studies support accuracies of 57% and 75% for innocent and guilty suspects, respectively. So if you're innocent, it can detect that at a 57% rate. And if you're guilty, it can detect your guiltiness at a 75% rate, respectively, give or take a few percentage-wise. Another interesting fact I found was that innocent individuals are more likely to fail than are guilty individuals to pass. Now, I think this might be because innocent individuals are so nervous in this type of setting. You're being interviewed by police. You don't want them to think that you're lying, but so you're going to get worked up anyways. So I think that that explains why they are more likely to fail. And a guilty individual, like a masterful criminal, might not feel guilty at all and might not be nervous. They think they can deceive the police. So overall, under certain conditions, polygraphs can detect deception at rates significantly better than chance, although the data also suggests that substantial rates of false positives, false negatives, and inconclusives are possible. So in the end, the outcomes are dependent on the skills of the examiner and the behaviors of the examinee. The examinee can dupe the examiner by manipulating their physiological response, thus rendering the test ineffective. So I think that this leads us to suggestions for the future. So now that we've seen that the results are a mixed bag, I'd say that CQT's polygraphs cannot be used as the ultimate arbiter of truthfulness. As we see on TV, it's not going to be totally 100% get someone to tell the truth or not. There's nothing in the world that can do that to 100%. No machine can detect whether you're lying. 100%, no room for failure. I believe it's more effective as a psychological tool to elicit confessions. So let's say you're interviewing, I'm a detective and I'm interviewing a criminal, and they may be innocent, maybe not, but I'm grilling them. I'm saying, I know you failed this polygraph test. Just tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. So then you, as the criminal, you're thinking, oh, they know that I lied. I'm going to confess anyways. So it's not necessarily like they're relying on these true information, but they're going to use it as a psychological tool to get you to confess. So it's going to be a valuable option to use in crimes where the evidentiary trail is weak. Same thing with when I become a police officer. If I lie about something in my background, they're probably going to try to tell me that I failed the polygraph. And then I'm going to say, no, 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 I didn't. Or if I didn't lie on my background, they're still going to say that I failed the polygraph and try to get me to admit something because they want to see if I had lied beforehand. So in all, this should best be seen as generating a hypothesis about where to focus resources during a criminal investigation, rather than the ultimate arbiter of truthfulness for the police. And these are my references. Thank you.